So, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the prequel to the hit game Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It was released November 11, 2014. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was released 3 months after the original, which had released August 8th, 2014. I personally remember back in 2014 seeing the Something Borrowed Something new teaser, which showed Withered Bonnie and Toy Bonnie. I want to talk about what I like about Fnaf 2 before I talk about the things I don't like about Fnaf 2. Fnaf 2 has some of my favorite animatronics in the entire series, such as Mangle, Withered Bonnie, and Withered Fred. And it was the first game in the series to introduce the death minigames, which became a staple in the series. And this character is two of my favorite Easter egg characters, that being Shadow Bonnie or RXQ and Shadow Freddy. And I like the music box mechanic and concept, although I don't like how it's executed in this game, and I will talk about fan games that I do think do the music box mechanic a lot better. Alright, that's all the positives I have for FNAF 2. The most obvious thing I'll be talking about is the gameplay loop. I'm not going to mince words here. I think the gameplay loop is awful. I genuinely don't know if a single person, even if they're a fan of FNAF 2, has ever defended the gameplay loop. This leads to FNAF 2 not being that fun to play because of how shallow the gameplay loop is. It's actually the FNAF game that I come back to the least, mainly because of how boring the gameplay loop makes the game. I want to continue talking about the music box mechanic and why I don't think it's good in FNAF 2. The music box resides in the prize corner, and you're supposed to wind it up to keep the puppet or the marionette at bay. My problem with this mechanic is two things. One, in Golden Freddy mode, it's complete luck because of how aggressive the characters are, and the only camera you need to check is the prize counter, which essentially just turns the game into a music box winding simulator. The worst part is, he's actually one of the most unique in this game. You defend yourself from 9 out of the 11 animatronics in this game by putting on the mask. Because of this, they don't stand out from one another. The thing that separates them from one another the most is how they actually enter the office. The fact that most of this cast can't even be differentiated from one another in terms of mechanics is not good game design. It's probably because this game was released 3 months after the original. Then there's The Office. I never liked The Office. I always thought The Office was far too bright. Then there's the flashlight in this game. The flashlight is such a joke here. It has way too much power. I also don't like how the flashlight lights up the hallway in one big light. For example, let's take FNAF 6's salvage segments with Lefty. To me, FNAF's horror always shined the brightest whenever they would take something that isn't scary and make it scary with certain lighting. Lefty by himself is not terrifying. However, when we see him in the salvage section, the harsh lighting of the salvage sections makes Lefty a lot more intimidating than before. Then there's the toy animatronics. I don't know how to feel about the toy animatronics. On one hand, I like the toy animatronics designs, but on the other hand, their design doesn't land well to horror at all. Then there's the Withered designs. I like half the Withered designs, if I'm being honest. Withered Foxy's design is fine for the most part, but I never really got why so many people liked it. Then there is Withered Chica. I never found Withered Chica scary, if I'm being honest. I always saw her more as goofy than scary. Something else that made FNAF 1 terrifying was the ambience. The ambience mixed with the lighting made the animatronics absolutely terrifying. FNAF 2 doesn't offer anything like that. Then there's one of the last things I want to talk about in this video. That being the reaction time. Whenever the animatronic wanders into your office, you have only half a second to put your mask on. Earlier, I mentioned that fan games do the music box mechanic a lot better than this game, so I want to talk about them. 2 of those games are Phobia the Awakening and One Night at Flumpty's 3. Those are better than the one in this game because those are a lot more forgiving than this. So, yeah, FNAF 2 isn't as good as I remember, but it's still honestly a favorite for me, mainly due to nostalgia's sake. When you beat Night 5, you get the paycheck ending of the base nights. When you beat Golden Freddy mode, you get the pink slip ending. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't mind, I would appreciate it if you were to like and subscribe.